Things you don't say to people with anxiety. So, part 3. And the advice that I have today is to not tell people with anxiety to just let it go. It's not that easy. This isn't Frozen. We just can't let it go. So, let it go is something I used to say all the time. My phrase was, well, actually, it was more of get over it. I would tell people to get over it. Life goes on with or without you, until I started realizing that it's not as easy as it sounds to just move on from something, to just let something go, especially when you have anxiety and you're holding on to every little detail of what took place, or the situation, or whatever it may be, and you're ruminating on it and you're thinking about it over and over, and you're obsessing on it. It's not so easy to just let it go. And so instead of telling somebody to let it go, what I found to be more effective, and what was the big breakthrough for me, is instead of telling them to let it go, but telling them to focus on what they can control. Because what happens is that we start thinking over and over and over about all these different things. But when you break down those things, you realize that you can't really even control those things. What was Mary thinking about me at the party? Who knows? You can't control what Mary was thinking. Why don't they like me? Who knows? You can't control whether or not they like you. And so when you start focusing on what you can control, it makes life so much easier. I would say, like, that was my biggest victory in dealing with my own personal anxiety, is looking at what I can control. And once I started pushing away everything that I couldn't control, life became a lot easier. When I think about, like, when I hit 28, I had, like, I call it my midlife crisis, even though it was nowhere near midlife. But life wasn't where I had thought it was gonna be. I thought I was gonna be married, I was gonna have my 4 kids, I was gonna have my big house and my white picket fence, like the whole fantasy. And I was nowhere near there. I had kids. I had a master's degree. I almost had a PhD. It was a lot that I had accomplished, but not getting to where I thought I was going to be was creating a whole lot of anxiety for me. And so I had to step back and look at what I could control. Getting married is not something I can control, because that requires me to control somebody else. Having kids is not something I can control, because that requires somebody else. But doing things like buying a house, I can control that. I can make sure my income is straight. I can do what I have to do to find a house and pay for it. And so I started focusing on those things I could control. And when I did that, it made it a lot easier to let go of the things that I couldn't. So instead of telling somebody to let it go, help them to let it go.